Good morning and welcome to Munich's Säbener Street, a public training session on Monday morning. And you can already see these three young football players, Philipp Lahm, Arjen Robben and Joshua Kimmich, are wearing running shoes. Here's the next Bayern star, Robert Lewandowski. The explanation is simple. Bayern Munich played the competitive weekend match yesterday evening. That means for those players who actually played for the full 90 minutes, or for the majority of those 90 minutes, it is a regenerative training session. Here's Thomas Müller joining in as well. These players will run laps around the pitch, while other players, like you can see them in the background, Kingsley Coman in the center, Mehdi Benatia on the right side of your screen. Rafinha is there. He joined the team later on in the game. Xabi Alonso served the yellow card ban. So these players will conduct a fairly normal training session, while this group here is going to run a couple of laps. Usually they run for about a half an hour or so, and then that's it for these players. We have very interesting football players here on your screen today. Interesting players because they might become really, really important in the next days and weeks. As you can see, a lot of the fans are running over now to the hidden pitch there in the background. The first part of the training session will obviously take part here at the back of Munich Säbener Street, not on one of the major pitches. But the reason why this group of players is so interesting is because on the far right, you have Serdar Taski. Mehdi Benatia is part of this group. These two players could become really, really important and crucial in the next weeks, in particular, with so many Bayern defenders injured. I think in the center of this group is Steven Ribéry, the cousin of French superstar Franck Ribéry. Has been doing a very good and impressive job for the reserve team this season, and it's not the first time that he trains with the Bayern Pro team. Then we have Kingsley Coman, was just on your screen. He came on late yesterday, but Ribéry, of course, Franck that is, and Mario Götze, who's a part of this group, are also physically, apparently, feeling ready to go. Question is, what do the physicians say? What do the physical therapists say? So far, Götze and Ribéry have been training with the team very well, haven't had any adverse reactions. But of course, due in particular to past experiences, Pep Guardiola is very wary of using players too soon. Just now, in the background, this running group slipped by. Again, most of the players with a short training session today on this Monday. It is the last fairly relaxed week for Bayern Munich. Next week, then, Champions League midweek football in Turin. And of course, we're all very excited to find out who will and who can play there. The first indication will come on the weekend when Bayern Munich play a home game against Darmstadt. Many are expecting that will be the first opportunity for Serdar Taski to play in central defense. Of course, some had expected him already to join in the work yesterday, but David Alaba took over for the once again severely injured Holger Badstuber. All the best from us here. You probably saw the images of yesterday. Bayern Munich, the entire team and coaching staff wearing a t-shirt with an emotional message directed at Holger Badstuber. We will keep you informed, obviously, with what's going on with the situation on a pretty much daily basis, at least in the next couple of days. Badstuber has already undergone surgery, which apparently went very well, but it was a season-ending injury nonetheless, and all we can hope for now is that he can recover soon and return healthily and regain his full fitness quickly. Pep Guardiola has plenty to worry about, particularly in defense, but the Bayern coach is a bit of a wizard when it comes to handling problems, handling tough situations. It is fascinating to think about the fact that Bayern Munich have been missing their key centre-backs for weeks now and haven't conceded a goal until yesterday, last minute. Not important 3-1 goal scored by Raoul Bobadilla, I think 4 minutes before the end. Apart from that, 4 clean sheets in succession in 2016, despite the absence of Jerome Boateng, Javi Martinez, and now Holger Badstuber. In the center of your screen, there's some young players again. Steven Ribéry, Fabian Benko. They are, Benko at least, a player who could still play for the under-19s, but has joined in the reserve team mid-season preparation, and of course already joined the Bayern team in Qatar, as did Julian Green, who's towards the left of your screen there, standing in front of Rafinha, who also, by the way, has featured in Bayern Munich's central defense in the past and could certainly become an alternative there. But here, Mehdi Benatia, that's the man. A lot of people are hoping for good performances by the captain of the Moroccan national team for Bayern, but unfortunately, of course, also a whole lot of injuries. These 6 players contributed to a very impressive victory yesterday evening in Augsburg. Thomas Müller commented after the game, saying that even after the 2-0, Bayern Munich still had to keep pushing, keep pressing forward and pressing hard against Augsburg, because this is an intense team, a team that never gives up. And he was extremely happy that Bayern Munich managed to take the next 3 points away from Augsburg and add them to their tally. Bayern Munich now on 56 points after 21 season matches. Second best season in Bundesliga history, and 8 points clear at the top of the league table. In a couple of weeks, at the beginning of March, Bayern Munich play what will possibly be the last crucial direct duel of the Bundesliga season, when they go to Dortmund. Until then, the Reds are going to attempt, obviously, to maintain that 8-point gap, or even open it up a little further. And then that's going to be a game that might already have a pretty decisive influence on the outcome of this Bundesliga championship. Before that happens, however, Bayern have a very important game next week in Italy against Turin. It's safe to say that the Italian record champions are pretty much on fire right now. I think 15 victories in succession, most recently a late win against Napoli, which allowed Juventus to reclaim the top of the Serie A league table. That's going to give them a boost of confidence. We'll see if some of the players in this group will be fit and ready for that. Mehdi Benatia is one possibility. Franck Ribéry in the background, certainly another. And here, just now slipping into our screen, of course, Mario Götze and Serdar Taski. You might be wondering, by the way, why only 6 players are running around the pitch. There are a couple of players who featured in yesterday's starting formation who are missing today. That's always up to the individual player, what he requires after such a game. If you look at David Alaba, who lost part of a tooth yesterday, and also Arturo Vidal, they sustained minor injuries, I suppose you would call them, and are in treatment, so to speak, and then other players just prefer or benefit more from other types of physical activity when they regenerate. Let's take a look at this. A popular fan favorite, the Rondo, with some real football wizards. Ribéry, Rafinha, as always, strong in these exercises and highly motivated. Xabi Alonso, a couple of youngsters as well. Let's enjoy a couple minutes here of short passing, fast passing, high-speed passing football.
Mucho aquí, nos sobran balones. Sí, no, dejamos, estos ya los queremos dejar aquí porque aquí además. Esto, tome, los grupos de trabajo que han hecho ya sirven para eso, ¿no? Para el centro. Sí, sí. No, como llevan casi todos los partidos.
Quite a sight here. 2 Ribéry's in the center trying to intercept a ball. Franck Ribéry just managed to do that, while these lads are just going to walk out the pain and minor injuries of yesterday. Good to see that Sedataski and Miri Benatia are fully involved, fully integrated. It's always tough to say from the outside. how fit they really are, but of course Benatia has been working for a long time now on his comeback. Götze hasn't played since October, Benatia since the beginning of December. Von Ribéry was injured in December as well after he achieved a mini comeback towards the end of the first half of the season. With Sedatarski, you're probably aware of this. It's a bit of a different situation. He's fit and healthy, but hasn't played in a really long time. The Russian winter break much longer than the one in Germany, so he's not really up to match fitness, match speed, I suppose, is the reason why he hasn't played so far. Which is no surprise. Unlike the Bayern players, he hasn't been able to really go through a full mid-season physical preparation. He was in training for 2 weeks, I believe, before he joined Bayern Munich. But Tarski, on paper, is certainly an interesting man. Already under 17s and under 19s German champion in the youth. Then in 2007 he stepped up to the Stuttgart professionals, and in his first season with the professional team he won the Bundesliga championship. In 2010 he was part of Germany's World Cup squad. Pretty decent credentials there. Transferred to Spartak Moscow in 2013 and joined Bayern just a couple weeks ago. A man that Bayern Munich signed on loan, basically to replace or fill in for the injured centre-backs, Jerome Boateng in particular, and then Javi Martinez sustained injury as well. This was all before Holger Badstuber sustained this season-ending injury, so thank God Bayern Munich reacted there. He might become a really important player. This group of 6 players has finished the lap running around the training facilities at Munich Säbener Street. We have some fans ask us time and again why players only run for half an hour, why some training sessions start later, why some training sessions are only an hour long while others are more than 1.5 hours. You need to know, and if you've been watching these live training sessions in the past, you will have heard me say this before, that the training facilities at Bayern Munich, the gym indoors, is extremely busy before and after each training session, depending on what the players feel comfortable with or what the players feel they need to prepare for a training session. They might even be in the training facilities in the gym up to an hour or longer before every training session. Some players are extremely diligent after training as well. So while sometimes we only see these players out for half an hour, for an hour or so, in fact, the physical exercises begin much earlier in the gym with an extensive warm-up program for several players. And the 6 players that we just watched run laps around the pitch here, they are certainly not finished yet. If they are, then it's because they were already in the gym for half an hour before they even started running. Good mood, good spirits here in this training group, and again, there are several players in this group that could be of absolute vital importance for Bayern Munich in recent weeks. Mario Götze on the right, Franck Ribéry in possession right here. They will be possibly and hopefully important alternatives for Bayern Munich's attacking game. Rafinha, who is complaining that he has to move into the center now, and Mehdi Benatia behind him, as well as Sedatarski, who's in possession just now, are going to be very important alternatives. Again, at least we hope they're going to be very important alternatives in Bayern's defense in the upcoming week, and in the absence of Badstuber, Boateng and Martinez. Xabi Alonso will return to the team after he served that yellow card ban on the weekend in Augsburg. Vidal stepped in his shoes there for one game and did a remarkably controlled and a very good job there indeed, controlling Augsburg and preventing, together with his teammates of course, Augsburg from creating really any goal chances of any note apart from that one pretty much last minute goal by Raul Bobadilla. So in terms of defensive structures and defensive discipline, Bayern Munich really showed an extremely impressive performance yesterday. Really only second to Bayern Munich's attacking performance yesterday. It's safe to say that football experts in the country were more than just a little impressed with what Pep Guardiola and his team achieved there in Augsburg. An opponent that, in terms of image and reputation, is certainly still a small club, an underdog when it comes to the duels against Bayern Munich, at least on paper. But if you've been watching the Bundesliga in the last couple of years, you'll agree that Augsburg are pretty much already traditionally an unpleasant opponent, and of course in this season a European Cup participant. Let's have a look what Pep Guardiola and Dominic Torrent, along with the other coaches, have planned for this training group. Now, safe to say we'll see a football in action. Here's a close-up, by the way, on the left-hand side of Steven Ribéry. You might want to remember that face. He's doing a decent job for the reserve team and has been training along with the Bayern Pro team for a while as well. It's possible that he might appear in the Bayern team at some point in future. If not in the Bayern team, then I assume in some other club. So this certainly looks a little confusing. There's three groups of 4 players, and it seems as if everyone's battling against each other. If you pay close attention, what it actually is it's Team Red, the shirtless team, so to speak, against Team Blue. The green team consists of 4 players that are all free agents that basically join in and are a part of the team in possession. So whenever a player in blue, for instance, takes the ball off a red player, he can play to a green player and double pass the ball there. As soon as he loses possession, then Team Green gets involved with the other group. This, by the way, I think changes as the exercises commences. So right now, Team Green is actually not a free agent, but it seems as if the red team is just that. It's blue against red now, so that changes as we go along. A little confusing, but if you watch Bayern's live training sessions regularly, then you've seen this before. It's typical for Pep Guardiola and his coaching staff to work there with free agents, so to speak. The reason is, of course, that you create superior numbers for the team in possession and make it more difficult for the team without possession to gain control of the ball. Tusky and Benatia here on our screen together. Mehdi Benatia, again, a career at Bayern marred by several injuries ever since he joined Bayern, but with some really good statistics for Bayern Munich as well in the passing game, as well as his statistic when it comes to duels against strikers. One of the best players in the league when it comes to those statistics, and in the few games, let's hope he hasn't hurt his knee here just now, in the few games that he did play for Bayern Munich so far, I think the Bayern fans will agree he made a remarkably level-headed and cool job there. Very solid, very calm and controlled in defense, and certainly someone who can help Bayern Munich now in the back three or back four, depending on what system Bayern Munich choose to play. Yesterday was a good example of how Pep Guardiola likes to vary systems and tactics, not only from game to game but within games. Bayern yesterday basically played with a back three, which occasionally turned into a back four with Lahm joining in at the back if Augsburg had possession for more than just a couple of passes. It's all in motion, all very flexible the way Bayern play, but with no real centre-back left in the squad, the calmness, the control, the vision and anticipation of Benatia could really be great help, particularly for someone like Joshua Kimmich, the young wonder boy who, like Alaba, has played pretty much every position on the pitch this season so far already. Alaba, I think, has pretty much really played every position possible apart from goalkeeper and striker. Here's a look at the Bayern goalkeepers. In goal, Tom Starke. Just now taking a shot at him was Sven Ulreich, who's quite obviously not 100% ready yet. Tom Starke was on the bench yesterday. Usually Sven Ulreich is the backup goalkeeper to Manuel Neuer, but the goalkeeping position certainly one which Bayern Munich don't have to worry about. Tom Starke currently really the number 3 goalkeeper in the Bayern squad, and he is someone who was dearly missed at Hoffenheim after he left and joined Bayern Munich. Hoffenheim, of course, now have reacted to a season or two of difficulties at the back with Oliver Baumann now in their team, but Sven Ulreich, who's now entering goal. Let's have a look at him for a minute or two and see what impression he makes. He sustained an injury. Worst of luck, really. The last day of the training camp in Qatar, I had the opportunity to talk to him a little bit, and of course he was really frustrated and disappointed. Fortunately, it wasn't a very serious injury, a season-ending injury. So, as you can see, he's back in goalkeeping training. Has been for a couple of days in this full goalkeeping training, so I expect to see him back in the squad soon. Doesn't seem as if he's holding back in particular, or if he's unable to save the occasional ball. So in this situation here, green against the rest of the world, blue and red playing together. Sebastian Rode came on yesterday late in the game into holding midfield to help hold on to Bayern Munich's lead. Certainly also a man who can play an important role for Bayern Munich in the upcoming weeks. Here's Serdar Taski there on the right. Julian Green. Here is Taski. Certainly FC Bayern's fans still have to familiarize themselves with. So far, no game, no minutes for Bayern Munich, but it's good to see that he can join in every training session. Following the first one, which already immediately had quite a shock value for Bayern, when he suffered a concussion in his first training session at Bayern Munich. Speak about bad luck in Bayern's defense. Pep Guardiola really needs to be the master of improvisation at Bayern Munich, and he is doing a remarkable job at that. As you can see, the next exercise focusing on one-touch football, fast reactions, focusing on getting rid of that ball quickly under intense pressure with no space and no time whatsoever. It's a similar exercise to what we saw earlier, and judging by the layout of the pitch today, this is all this group of players is going to do here today. It is really good news for the Bayern fans to see players like Ribéry and Götze on the pitch in these full team training sessions, not holding back, going into duels, challenging, tackling the ball. Benatia and Taski are here in this group on the pitch, as I mentioned I think several times now. Those two players could become super important for Bayern Munich in the next few weeks. We'll see just what role they can play and how fit they are when they can really join in Bayern Munich's competitive football. This man here is Steven Ribéry, certainly a name that's familiar for the Bayern fans and a man that we will keep an eye on in the near future. Xabi Alonso, Rafinha there in this group as well, and always ready to play if they're not serving that yellow card ban, as is Sebastian Rode. Since most of the players, since a lot of the players who featured in yesterday's game are not on the pitch here today, we're going to cut this live training session a little short here, show you maybe another minute of this exercise, and then say farewell. It's the last calm and quiet week of full training for Pep Guardiola before the Champions League game next week against Juventus Turin. And another busy week of Bundesliga football. Slowly but surely, the really busy schedule, the really crucial, big, important games are knocking on our door, and it's good to see that despite the really bad injury news that Pep Guardiola had to cope with and still has to cope with in these weeks, that there are players returning to the squad, that there are players who have been working hard for weeks to work on their comeback. There are a couple of players returning. There is some good news on the horizon. We'll see who can help and who can hopefully contribute to a successful season 2015-2016 at Bayern Munich. Thanks for watching today, and goodbye.
Viel besser. Ja, gut Kontrolle, Juli. Perfekt. Pause. Pause. Perfekt. Perfekt. Pause. Pause. Komm. Pause. Pause. Yes. Perfekt. Sehr gut. Nochmal. Pause. Pause. Bravo, Fran becomes the ball. Nobody said he's alone and all. Nog eens? Ah, sorry. Go. Bravo. Bravo.
Okay, 4. Blau innen.